Hey everybody, welcome to Sama. I'm Derek Mazzoni. We are in Seattle, Washington, which happens to be occupied Duwamish territory, which is very important to acknowledge that there is a vibrant and thriving Indigenous culture in this part of the Pacific Northwest, this part of the United States. This is very important, tied to the band that I'm having on tonight. They are a local Pacific Northwest Indigenous ensemble named Khu.éex, and they're made up of members of the Tlingit, Haida, Blackfoot tribe. They I would say they combine soul and funk with a sense of spirit, a sense of history, and a sense of, to me at least, of awareness that this is a culture and it's evolving, and it is beyond the reservation. It is beyond any concepts and precepts that the occupying forces, be it American or Spanish or whoever came through this land, has imprinted on them. This is a 21st century cultural experience, and I'm super jazzed to be able to share this music with you and have a conversation with the band, as we do here on Sama, Seattle Sacred Music and Art. This is the first song, Khu.éex. This is called Water Protectors. Enjoy it.
Welcome everybody to the Khu.éex experience, live and direct from Puyallup territory. We acknowledge the Puyallup people here on this beautiful land. Kunachi Shatiadi Anyat Kusani Shia Awadadeki Hatuwasagu Yigu Ayakwan Yigu Ayakwan Kayiksikhan.
Listen, my people, we must defend brothers, sisters, fighting for their integrity. We are the warriors of this history. We are the warriors of this history. We are the protectors. We are the protectors.
Welcome everybody out there. Come on now. It's good to have you on board. Woo!
Way, way,
All right, Q Week. That was awesome. I'm here with Ed Littlefield. I'm here with Sandra Segundo. I'm here with Preston Singletary. I'm here with Nahan. Thanks for joining us. This is really great. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate the music. I appreciate the message. And it's a powerful one. And it's so important, especially right now, um, because the way we've been kind of living in this world is not, dare I say, sustainable. And as I've been doing these programs on Sama, I've been listening to people, and I've been trying to share this platform to let people know that there are other ways that you can live in a world, you can live in a society, you can live as a community, you can live with nature and some type of balance. And this is an ancient form of knowledge that I find it is really intriguing because we are in the Pacific Northwest. We are so close to nature. If you go in the east part of the United States, it's been ravaged. It's like building on top of building. Here, we're 20 minutes, 30 minutes out from an old growth forest, and the music and the energy here is just so close to nature, and the imagery on stage with you guys and everything is just so beautiful and so tied to that. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your message. A couple of quick questions, if I may. How did the band come together? Preston.
Oh, I'll feel that one. So, I brought some folks together initially to do a recording project with Bernie Worrell, keyboard player, and I met him during my 50th birthday, and we started a series of recordings that a lot of this music is based on. And so we went into he expressed interest in working with me. I had the opportunity to open up for his band, the Bernie Worrell Orchestra, and we just kind of made a connection. And so we started to record. Over the years, we've worked with different musicians. We first worked with Stanton Moore out of New Orleans, and today we're very happy and blessed and tickled to have Ed Littlefield, doing the drums with us now. Another Tlingit tribal member from Sitka. Actually, we're from the same house group. So, anyways, yeah. So the cast of characters have changed over the years, and Sandra is our most recent addition to the singer. It's been a couple of years now, but we wanted to have a female vocalist to work with, and we lost one of our really dear sisters, Clarissa Rizal, who is the original one of the original collaborators. She passed away from cancer in 2016. So
I'm so sorry.
Wanted to get and then we met Sandra, and it's been wonderful working with her too.
And perfect. And Nahan came to the band when?
Nahan was kind of in the middle. He was just shortly after the very inception of this recording project, and so I'd worked with Nahan a little bit in the previous group, Little Big Band, that one that I had been working with or founded, and so I knew I really was taken with Nahan's ability to do some rhyming, some freestyle stuff, and his knowledge of the Tlingit language, and so we saw that as a real asset. So we brought him in to help us with that component, and storytelling, and dancing, drumming, all of the above.
So the band is made up of a variety of performers. There's storytellers, drummers, different instrumentalists. How do you put all that together? I'm curious, because usually you have a band. It's like a bass, drum, guitar, maybe some horns, but you've got all these. There's a lot going on, wonderfully so. And it's not love songs. It's not like, hey, let's just sing along and the story. You're sharing a culture. You're sharing a history, and also the thing that really drew me is like a future. This isn't like music of the past. This isn't like like in the academy, where it's like, oh, this is what people did 100 years ago, so we're going to do that. This is kind of music where we could go into the future with it. And I find it really interesting because music and art has this really intriguing way where it can change the narrative. And when people start liking your music, they're liking your art. They'll listen in a different way to other things that you might be saying, that you might be presenting. And you're talking about languages. You mentioned that you and Ed are part of a same house group. There's like you guys represent a whole culture that is here, but it's, of course, the Western dominating culture overwhelms everything. So the fact that you're presenting this art form and incorporating all these different styles, I find really intriguing. And it's also I'm curious how you're able to put all these pieces together and and bring that out. I'm just like, this is an intriguing process to me. It's like, I know Bernie Worrell and I know Parliament Funkadelic and everything. I'm just curious how 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 did you make this amazing cuisine?
Well, I'll say one thing about that. I see myself as more or less of a curator. In some ways, I mean, all of these people that I'm working with are super super talented, and so Nahan brings like a real kind of activist point of view and social commentary. So I'll just let Nahan speak a little bit about that component of the group, what he brings to the group.
Okay, Nahan.
Yeah, I think it's been a part of something I've done, just marching around and organizing Abolish Columbus Day marches, bring community together to feed them, Khu.éex, like giving away, having feasts and stuff like that, not just for Tlingit people who have given me something, but for our Indigenous community at large here in Seattle. I've done that for, off and on for some time. And, going to Standing Rock and going up north to Blue River to support, the relatives up there. Just, trying to support the resistance. For me, that's what it's about. And whatever platform comes around that's needed, that values that voice, is definitely the one that needs to have that voice. So it's just work I've been doing since 2008, and just uphold it and speak it through the music. And luckily, Preston and everybody else is down with how I can get sometimes and put up with it. And yeah, it is what it is. I'm here, and I appreciate the involvement and the opportunity. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Sandra, how did you find the band?
They found me. They did a search and somebody told them about me. I would just sing songs out at gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what they asked, but they just asked if the community knew of any singers. And it was so exciting when I got the email.
That's perfect. Awesome. And Ed, how did you come up? How did this enter your life?
Me too. I was begging at the doorstep, knocking on the door. Preston, let me in. No, I was fortunate enough to see Little Big Band in one of the last arrangements of People and at Nectar, and it was amazing. I just, as I was listening to the music, it was it felt like home, because some of us are transplants, some of us were born here, but like I'm originally from Sitka, and like making that choice to become a professional musician and split my time in Seattle and down south, makes me appreciate what Sitka had. And so like playing in this band and getting asked to be a part of this band is like going home a little bit. And I really liked that part of it. I want to add about building songs, though. People built songs, and there's instead of composing songs, and so there was a great thing right before the pandemic began. We had a great works session And it was amazing because I missed the first 2 days because I was traveling, and I come back in, and every song had a feeling, and it's not necessarily a message quite yet, but it was working towards that. And I think we're all into the feeling of songs and how they relate. So ancient songs always told a story, like they were the purpose of telling stories and sharing knowledge. And I think this group does a really good job at sharing knowledge and sharing different ideas about the world that we live in. So
Perfect.
And I wanted to say something too. We didn't divide our arts into categories. The music went with the storytelling, went with the dance.
Okay.
And whatever music came in, just the instruments would come in.
Perfect.
And join.
Perfect. It feels like it warms the heart, it lifts the spirit, and that's the focus of this whole program, is like finding music from all over the world that helps people get through times, or empower them, or make them happy. But fundamentally, it feels like music like this is okay. We're going to get through this. We're here right now. There's a challenge, but we're going to get through this challenge. We're going to try to find some other way, and we're going to learn from each other. And this is an interesting time for a band such as Khu.éex, because there's an awareness of broader Indigenous cultures. It feels like there's an opening right now, and I'm really excited to see that you guys you're playing. You did that performance with masks on, so you can do socially distant shows. But I think it's really important for this band to be out, to be heard, to be seen, because it feels like the quote unquote the dominant culture there's a crack. And now maybe this can rise, and maybe this can root and become something that it becomes part of the conversation for everybody in the future. As like my children and my grandchildren will know about this culture, will know about the languages and the history, not just the stuff that is being force fed them right now. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So I want to play the next song. This is Raven's First Dance. But tell me a little bit about this, if you can. What does that mean?
Naha.
So this song comes from a story that I was told by one of my best friends, and his name is Ed Coons. He happens to be a hereditary clan leader for the Tlingit people. He told me this story one time while we were sitting around and just having snacks and hanging out at his place. And he mentioned that, the Raven stories are particularly among Tlingit culture, ones that are often shared throughout the different clans because of their history for all of us. So this is, you hear me acknowledge him in the introduction every time I tell this story. And yep, that's pretty much it. You'll hear the rest as you listen.
Perfect. Thank you. Khu.éex on Sama.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Khu.éex. We're here to celebrate. Have a good time and share a little bit of the spirit. So thank you all for joining us wherever you're at. Light that sage. Get out your own drums and join us. It's more than just a celebration, it's a ceremony of life. The ceremony of life. We're all in the spirit. Spirit in all things.
Jakta Chowe, Yashkashnik. Seitan Cheda Chowe. Tuk nach Adi Ayich Seti. Where Yesh Dat. A long time ago, the world was a different place. And it had storms there still. And one day Raven was out. And Raven was looking around for food. kunach, always looking for food. Kunach du ityan uaha, he was always hungry. Ku'a ayaudati yebuti. However, it was really stormy, it was rainy, it was windy outside. And he got blown around. So he looked up on the mountaintop, and there he found a shining light. So he made his way all the way up there into that cave, and he looked inside, and he saw there was a fire burning left, and it seemed like it was just for him. So he walked right in. He opened up his wings over that fire to dry them out. Ah, it felt nice. It was warm. It was dry. It was out of the wind. And as he was enjoying himself, he looked off into the cave entrance. He saw a figure looming. A great big figure looming. Came walking in. That was Bear. And Bear came walking right in on his cave, saw Raven there, and started chasing Raven around and around. Up they went, down they went. And then there came a moment where Raven stopped and he said, forgive me, my in-law, my opposite. And Raven did what had never been done before across the whole entire universe. He danced for the very first time. He boogied to the left, and he boogied to the right, and he boogied to the left, and he boogied to the right. And this stopped Bear right in his tracks. Bear realized that this was now a guest in his cave, so he went outside and got a fish for Raven, and he placed it there over the fire to cook perfectly. Once it was done, he took that fillet off and he put it on top of a skunk cabbage leaf. And Bear poked his palm and he squeezed a little bit of that bear grease came out on top of that fish. And he handed that to Raven. This is where our people learned that fish tastes better with grease. So Raven and Bear, they ate, they laughed, they created a kinship that would last throughout generations and times and ages. And in the morning, Raven left after the storm was gone. He said, thank you for helping me, my opposite. Sometime further down, it was stormy yet again, as it always is on Tlingit. And Raven was out getting food, and he came back to his nest. And there upon that nest was a little tiny bird. And this little bird was shivering, was cold, was hungry. And instead of kicking that little bird off Raven's nest, he instead said, Kwasiku yidat weha tutlaani tundatani kwasiku. I know something about the kindness of our people. And so he remembered what Bear did, and he went and got a fish, and he put it over the fire, and he roasted it till it was just right. And when it was done, he took it off and he put it on top of one of them big leaves, the skunk cabbage leaves. And then Raven poked his talon. He poked his talon and he squeezed, but nothing came out. So he squeezed even harder, and eventually a little bit of that raven grease came out, and he put it on top of that fish. And he handed that fish to that little bird like that. And through the night, night, Raven and this little bird created a bond that would last throughout time, throughout generations, throughout ages. And in the morning, that little bird flew off, said, thank you for helping me, Raven. That gratitude. And so this is the story. Our people are reminded of our kindness and our generosity. Even though you might just have a little bit of something, that little bit of something, when given to somebody who needs it more than you, becomes a whole lot more. Yeah, way. Gonna teach, you honey. Yeah, way, gonna teach,
God, I missed that. I really missed that. That was beautiful. Khu.éex on Sama, Sales Circuit Music and Art. Preston and everybody. Who's in the band? We need to acknowledge people that are not here.
Mm.
Who else is in the band?
Gene Tagaban is the guy. He's got the red mask on. It's one of the original founders that I collaborated with to get this project going. And then we got Skerrick, Jason Cressy. Skerrick on saxophone. Not everybody knows Skerrick, but a lot of people do. Jason Cressy on the trombone. And then we've got Tim Kennedy on the keyboards. Am I missing anybody?
Rob.
Captain Rob.
Rob. Yeah, my big collaborator on the guitar. He and I write a lot of the riffs and the compositions and kick ideas back and forth. And so he represents the Blackfoot Nation, and he is an amazing musician, amazing composer. And multi-instrumentalist.
Okay.
And Denny.
Yeah, we have Denny.
Denny.
Denny Stern is a great percussion player, African Latin American percussion player. Well, I'm sorry, he plays that style. He's an amazing guy.
We're in the middle of it right now. You guys, you're alive. First part, you're alive. Okay, we succeeded. Second part, we're doing okay. What would you like to see happen once we're through this with Khu.éex? What would be? I mean, I have ideas, but I'm curious to see what would you like to see happen with this project, because it's not a small band. It's not like a trio. Get in a van and drive north. I'm super curious. What would you like to do?
I want to go to New Zealand.
Okay.
That's just me.
I do too.
Well,
But do
I
you
rock out over there.
do you want to play in other countries that have like strong indigenous populations and create that kind of, because that's what I was thinking too. It'd be like this would be amazing in everywhere, like in Brazil, Peru,
Yeah.
just like this could be because most, like as I said, when I grew up in Poland, Indians were bonanza shows. There was nothing, and this is so vibrant and alive and needs to be shared. And would love to see that happen. But is that part of the big plan, or was it just let's keep it local? We're chilling.
Well, right now local works because it is complicated to try to get everybody to commit and compensate everybody for their time.
Yeah.
So I try to keep that a good balance there. I mean, some of our next level or next chapter is what we're thinking about is more theatrical performances.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe teaming up with a theatrical production company. Talking with the guy up in Vancouver who has a lot of experience from every aspect of theater. And Ed's got a lot of theater experience too. I mean, he's actively working on that all the time, even as an actor or as a music producer and all of the above. But so we think that, doing performing arts centers might actually be a way to reach a different audience, a broader audience. We're not exactly the average club show
No.
band,
No.
It's just like, we kind of take issue with like, the I don't know, the intent and the focus, Not everybody who goes to a club is looking to be enlightened about Native culture, So we're actively looking for other. I mean, I wouldn't say no to that. I mean, I love playing and being sort of a jam band and doing that kind of thing. But it's it's tough getting people in the door, and it's like you'll get paid as many people as you bring in the door, and that's tough. For a 10-piece band, it's hard to
Yeah.
Keep your enthusiasm up for $150 a night or something.
I get you completely. But tell me, QE, what does it translate as to you guys?
Yeah, someone answer that. Unmute.
We're going for Nahan.
Okay, who wants to answer that?
Yeah, you pronounce it Khu.éex.
QE. Okay.
And it's a Tlingit word which means invitation to a feast. And it typically is used in reference to what is now called or generally called a potlatch in Tlingit culture. So yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, that's a great name, right there.
I think going forward, if we're going forward, the term Khu.éex, if we're doing an invitation to something or a gathering, I would love to see more of the language being used in our. We already use it, but like that is an important aspect for me. Pretty much everything I do has some sort of Tlingit language in there, or artistic thing, and so that's what I would love to see, and that's what I think we're on the right trajectory. So we do a theater show. It's got the stories. It's got artwork. It's got everything that is Tlingit culture inside of it, or Haida culture. All our different backgrounds. I just really being able to get our audience to pronounce Khu.éex is a goal, right? That's something that I would love to see here, because Tlingit language is so deep, it is heavy, it is real, and I'm a learner as well. I'm just like every day I learn a new word, and I'm still at a baby's level. I'm still at a toddler's level, but I'm still learning. And so I think going forward, Sandra is working on Hadkil too, and it's like share that language and share the culture and make sure we get it out to as many people as possible. That's one of my goals.
Okay.
Many of us relearning our languages, and that we're the grandchildren of the survivors in the boarding school system, and so we're relearning our language, and it's coming back to us very naturally. But we're realizing how beautiful and colorful and vibrant our languages are, very descriptive, full of verbs. And it's the way we describe our stories or tell stories. It's in our DNA, and it just comes out of us naturally.
Is the intention to share with the other grandchildren of the boarding school system, and like get them reacquainted with their culture and their history?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that part of it to share with, because you're in the Pacific Northwest, you're here, there's the cultures are here, there people are more aware. Puyallup, Tlingit, Haida, there's an awareness here, whereas if you're in other parts of the country, there's not, because that's when the first colonists came and they just slaughtered. And now there's this I find that this is a really powerful opportunity where people such as myself and others can learn from this, and it could be an interesting way to look at the world differently. And I'm wondering, is that part of the equation, or is it more like, no, this is for us? Because the reason I'm bringing this up is I had a band from Ontario called Tribe Called Red come through for KXP, and they were doing their work in clubs. They were doing their work, with MCs, and it was DJ culture. And I remember the energy when all of these other native kids showed up at the club and just like felt this. And I saw Jeremy Ducher, who's from New Brunswick. He's I'm mispronouncing it, Kutsquich. He's a singer up there, and Tulip came to Edmonds for that show, and it was like this powerful opportunity. I felt like I was witnessing all of these kids came in, and some of the kids were a Two-Spirit, and he considered himself Two-Spirit also, and so it was like this multi-layered of complexity that most people just wouldn't understand and know at all. And like even the concept of Two-Spirit, just like it fits completely this, the opportunity for people to look at their gender from a different perspective. And this is an ancient knowledge, and now it can be shared. And I'm not putting this on you as a, like, you're now going to be the ambassadors for everybody, but it's just what I felt. And I'm a nerd, but what I felt was like an opening. My heart just went, wow, I had no idea. With all of these, through these artistic platforms, whether it's in a nightclub or in the academy or in a symphony kind of setting, where it's like, there's so much stuff here. It's intoxicating. But is that part of the am I just kind of like projecting, or is this something that comes into your
It's all about, it's all about passing it on to the next generation. Our elders helped our language to survive, taught us our cultures behind closed doors. We're still here, and we're still strong, and our culture is real strong. We hid away from the mainstream society for a while. Not me particularly. Well, yeah, in high school, I didn't really tell anybody I was Indigenous. I just fit into mainstream society. But, at home, we were singing Hadkel, speaking Hadkel, very proud of our culture and who we are. And our elders worked hard to keep our language alive. A lot of it survived through gospel music, and so now it's my turn. And so I'm going to pass on as much as I possibly can. And we started a nonprofit organization in Seattle, bringing the Haida language to the Seattle public schools. So the Haida kids, there's a lot of us down here, a lot of kids here, and they can earn credit for learning our language.
Oh, that's amazing. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. We could talk for hours, but let's go to the next song if we can. This is Killer Whale song. Tell me about this, please.
Killer Whale's song is my first original composition in Hadkel, the Haida language. My great uncle, Uncle Miju, he helped translate the song with my cousin Ben, who is now a fluent speaker, a young fluent speaker in our tribe. And they helped translate it, helped me pronounce it, and then I came up with this tune, and it was to go along with the children's book and that I wrote. It just talks about our powerful relationship with the orca. We consider them our family. And there's many stories that when the ocean took one of our relatives, they would return to us as an orca whale. And so we're very connected to the ocean and to all the life surrounding our lands in the Northwest Coast. And so this song translates, I'm a child of the ocean. I hear her calling to me. Through the song of my relative killer whale, I hear her calling to me. And when I brought this to the band, it was pretty amazing what they came up with. I mean, I just can't believe it. But we wanted it to be full immersion into our languages, Haida and Tlingit.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. Here it is.
The next song gives honor to our family, the killer whales. It translates, I'm a child of the ocean. I hear her calling to me through the song of my relative killer whale. I hear her calling to me.
Kusani ki nagu aya Eitini nagu sejitsu Lajawe Igu aya khon Ya khat kwani Ya kit kwani tu In kwani Igu aya khon Yeah away
In the comments, go wild.
Q.éex on Sama. That was beautiful. Thank you so much for that. That was really, really lovely. Thank you. A couple of quick things. You guys, I totally forgot about this. You have a GoFundMe campaign going on right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually on Indiegogo.
Okay.
Yeah, Indiegogo, and it's under Khu.éex, but it's also Wooch is the name of the album, of the new forthcoming album. It's all
Mhm.
ready to be released probably in April. A triple LP, the digital download.
You don't slack with that. It's not like, we're releasing. I'm holding here right now some pretty amazing work, and I can definitely, this
Oh
is
yeah,
lovely.
you got the
Lovely,
there. Yeah.
lovely work all the way around. I've been playing this on my radio show. It's really good. Skerrick and I go back forever, and it's just lovely to be able to share this and to have this work. And more importantly, it's not just good music; it's important. And I don't say this lightly. Being in this biz for so long, it really is important because it's more than just tunes. It really is a culture, and as I was listening, it's like it begins with the language. That's why when the colonists came in, they suppressed the language because that suppresses identity, and it kind of like it cuts the next generation from learning it, and created and has created uh, the devastation that is afflicting the societies, all these societies, and it's just to have this present in this beautiful form. I applaud you guys. Seriously, this is really, really powerful work. Thank you for sharing it, and thank you for continuing. And so Indiegogo, I want to make sure you guys find a way to get funded and to continue because, as Sandra was saying, this in New Zealand would be mind blowing. And like with other musicians coming in, other Indigenous artists coming in, and adding to this, and the fact that we're in this space right now where Sitka, Seattle, wherever we're communicating in real time, this can happen in a really, really powerful way. I didn't think this when I first started doing Sama. I didn't even think this when I started doing a Wop Up and XP, but it was like, this is an interesting time for this culture, for this music, I don't even know what to call it, voice, language, identity, all of these things to rise up and take its place amongst all the other things that are going on. It's needed now more than ever because God, I feel like I'm lecturing and I apologize. But I feel like it's needed. Like, the way the way to live in the world needs to change, and it doesn't need to come from a brand new perspective. There are cultures that have been living in harmony for thousands and tens of thousands of years. Let's learn from them and move on to the future together. I know I sound like a super hippie, but I believe it. I really do. That's the way we can do it. Enough of that. So if you let's find a way to get you guys to New Zealand and beyond, because I think this would be really, really powerful. I remember seeing you guys for the first time. I was like, this is really good. This is fun. People are really, yes, Preston, you're right. Not everybody wants to have a cultural lecture when they go to a show, but if it's presented like this, they're going to feel it. It's not even they're going to listen to it. They're going to feel it. They're going to tell other people about it, instead of just like, oh yeah, somebody was just talking to me all day. No, I'm actually feeling something here.
Yeah, most people, come to our shows. They have this sense of, positivity and energy, and it's uplifting, and it does. It conveys that feeling, and really, I think I also wanted to mention. Bottom line is, I also wanted it to be a high level of musicianship, musicality, and by bringing in, Ed and Tim Kennedy, the horn players, they bring this jazz element to it, which is really powerful. In the end, when we're firing on all cylinders, really, coming together in a live performance, it really it goes the distance, and it's a lot of fun.
Perfect. I look forward to seeing you all live soon. Thank you for being here. This is awesome. Preston, Sandra, Nahan, Ed, This is like quite a joy, and I'm glad we're able to find time to make this happen. And I need to stress this to everybody out there: this is a live concert series in the Pacific Northwest and traveling all over the world. So expect to see Khu.éex at a stage, some way, somehow, relatively soon. I want to finish with T-Funk. Tell me about this before we say bye.
This was a song that was off our first album, actually, and this was T-Funk. It's sort of the equivalent of P-Funk. That was our thing on this particular song, and we do kind of pay homage to Bernie Worrell and P-Funk on this album or on this cut. We added sort of the Mothership Connection thing in the end. You'll hear it, and it's a lot of fun.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sama.
Thank you for having us.
Gunarchish.
Land back.
Absolutely.
Big shout to Bernie Worrell, Clarissa Rizal, Bernie, Clarissa, members that have walked on before us. Iguaya Juan, Anyat Kusani. Yep. Move your body, y'all. I know y'all home at your computers, at your laptop. Put that shit down and dance with us one time. Last song. Yekwati, Anyat Kusani, Yekwati, Shia Owudaneki, Yekwati, Anyat Kusani, Yekwati, Shia Owudaneki, Yekwati, Anyat Kusani, Yekwati, Shia Owudaneki, Yekwati. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati, Shia Owudaneki. It will be so. It will be so. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati. Y'all say it with me, Yekwati. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati. Shia Owudaneki, Yekwati. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati. Y'all say it with me, Yekwati. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati. Shia Owudaneki, Yekwati. Anyat Kusani, Yekwati. Shia Owudaneki. It will be so. It will be so. Consider it done.
Captain Love over there on the guitar. Captain Love on the guitar. We got our brother Tim back here on the keyboard. Working his magic fingers on the keyboard back there. Brother Tim. Back here on the drums, we got Brother Ed. Yeah. Keeping us on time now. Blessings, and wellness to all of you out there. Gonna teach.